No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the About to Break podcast. I'm your host Taylor Hughes, and this is the show where we talk to artists and entertainers about the ups and downs of trying to break into the industry before it breaks them. This week on the show, we have one of the most successful comedy duos in all of the world, The Passing Zone. They were recently on America's Got Talent and just destroyed on that show. They've been huge in everything from the corporate market to the comedy club scene. And these guys have done it all. They've got so much experience that they share on this episode. And it was really fun to sit down and talk with them, not only because I've been a huge fan of their work and find them to be one of the funniest acts around today, but also it's interesting when, you think about all that goes into being a performer and the challenges and the family stuff and the business stuff. And to have two performers working together that each have their own family, each have their own life, and then come together to create this act, we really got into some cool stuff that I don't think in all the other 89 episodes, I don't think we've talked about some of the things that we hit on with this. So I know you're going to love it. Before we get into that, I do want to thank everyone who's been sponsoring us, all the producers over on Patreon. For those of you who don't know, we've got a Patreon page. This is an opportunity for you to get some behind-the-scenes looks, some extra content, and bonus material that isn't available here on the free show. This show will always be a free show, but we do want to say thank you to those of you who are supporting us financially and helping make this show possible. I want to thank our newest producers of the show. We've got Scott Tripp. Thank you, Scott. We've got Kyle Bidlack, and we also have Daniel Will. Thank you to the three of you guys for signing up. For as little as $1 a month, you guys, you can be a producer of this show. You'll get extra content, and you'll get our eternal gratitude. Katie and I are so grateful for this podcast. It's been a huge blessing to our family. It's just a joy. It's a passion project. So thank you for those of you who are supporting us. If you want to become a producer, all you got to do is slip over to abouttobreakpodcast.com, click on the Become a Producer button, and you too can become a producer of this show. A couple of shows I want to talk about coming up. First of all, September 27th through the 30th, I will be performing at Knott's Halloween Haunt at Knott's Scary Farm there, and I'm so excited to be performing inside the Birdcage Theater. This is the theater that, if you've read Steve Martin's Born Standing Up book, so many stories from this venue. That's where he got his big start. And I'm so excited, man. It's just one of those things that probably doesn't matter to most people, but certain venues like the Magic Castle, like the Birdcage Theater, they're just things that, are bucket list items for me. So anyone who wants to come out to that, I would love to see you there. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, you just buy a ticket to the park, come and get your get the pants scared off you, and then you get to come to the show. So I'll be doing 4 shows a night, 8:15, 9:15, 11:15, and then 12:15 a.m. And then next month, October 12th through the 17th, I'll be in Lake Tahoe at the wonderful Loft Theater. Just a great venue. I'm so excited. My first time performing there, but I've been there many times to see friends and just enjoy shows. And if you're in the Tahoe area, if you're in the Carson City, Nevada area, come on out. Come say hi. I'd love to see you. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you again to everyone who's supporting the show. If you love the show, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this. It makes a huge difference. A lot of people find the show because of the comments that you all leave. Remember, again, none of this would be possible without you guys supporting the show, spreading the word, supporting on Patreon. Thank you so much for all you do. And now, that's it. Let's get into the show, everybody. Sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 90, my conversation with John Wee and Owen Morse of The Passing Zone. Hey everybody, welcome to About to Break. I'm your host, Taylor Hughes, and right now I'm sitting across the table from John and Owen of The Passing Zone. Thank you guys for doing this.
Wow. Hey, we're glad to be here.
How was that for a fake intro?
I like that. That sounded really good. You sounded happy to be here.
I am very happy to be. Well, we're in your clubhouse, which is great. You guys.
Yeah, welcome.
I came here a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
You guys periodically, put on these little things where entertainers come and guys try new stuff. And it reminded me of being a kid and being at Magic Club. Because that's what it was, right?
Yeah.
It was like
everyone comes and everyone brings something to share and give each other feedback, and it's a fun, safe environment.
Yeah, we've been doing this sort of on and off for many years with some of the same group, but it always morphs and new people come and some go and all of that.
Happens to be in town at the moment.
Yeah, but a lot of comedy variety performers, and we get together and just do a brainstorm session of, okay, who has something you're working on? Let's try to write some jokes, think of some ideas. And it's been really helpful, and it was great to have you here last time. And
I was so grateful you guys let me crash the party. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, no, it's fun.
And this space, how long have you guys been here at the clubhouse?
It's been about 5 years, maybe 6 years now.
Maybe 6 years, yeah.
Okay. I'll have to snap a picture or something to show people. But you've created this, in the middle of an area of town. There's a lot of business going on, and you walk through the doors, and it's like this oasis of fun.
It really is. Yeah, we call it the clubhouse. It's basically our warehouse space, but because we're jugglers, we threw the word club in there. So, and it is just like a clubhouse.
Right. It's a place where we can leave all of our equipment and don't have to pack it up every time. We used to work out at a gymnasium at some church.
Oh, yeah.
Not far from here, actually. But now it's great. We can come here, have all our stuff ready to go, open the door, and be juggling. We could be cracking whips within 60 seconds of coming through the door.
I walked in the door, and you had a whip in your hand, and we're just like, you ever cracked a whip? And I'm like, no, I hope I get to. In my head, I'm like, ever since I was a kid watching Indiana Jones, I'm like, this has got to happen. We got to do this.
Do it right now.
And then I found out you actually have the Indiana Jones model.
Oh, of course. How could you not? If you're going to get a whip, you get the 8-foot Indiana Jones model.
What I love about variety entertainment is that you learn stuff putting together an act that you like. Most people, if they looked at our Google history, would be like, what are you guys looking up? Like, you're trying to buy bullwhips and flamethrowers.
We didn't set out to learn how to do a bullwhip, but then you get some weird idea for a show, and it's like, okay, here's a bit that I guess we have to learn doing a whip or throwing knives or
related skills.
Yeah.
Has that just become common since you guys have been working together that one of you will call with this an idea and it's just like, all right, hear me out.
Start with that. Okay, give me a moment.
And that's one of the fun things about being a team, or one of the interesting things as a solo performer. You can have an idea and basically just do it and decide you like it.
Right.
And then you just do it and you see if the audience likes it, and it's all just you and your idea.
Right.
When you're a team, then you have to present your idea to somebody else and get somebody else on board. And they might not see it the same way you do, or they might go, I don't get it. It doesn't seem funny to me. And you're like, no, it is. No. I think it's going to work.
Right. Or sometimes we say, oh my gosh, that's great. And how about we do this? And you go, oh man, that's even better. So it can go both ways.
Is there a piece right now in the show that when it first came up, one of you proposed it and the other one was like, I don't know if this is going to work?
Well, good question. I don't think that there's anything right now that we're doing that seemed too doubtful.
It's interesting, and we've both had ideas. Like we used to do NBA halftime shows, and we thought, what would be cool? Inline skates. Now we're screaming around on the court on inline skates, juggling.
It's basically
this is going to be awesome. Yeah, and then we can cover more territory. It'll be
sort of little blades of glory going on.
I can hear the final countdown right now. Right?
Yeah. This is going to be great.
This is going to be awesome. So then you go buy, rollerblades, and then you practice for months and months, and then you go do it, and the audience is like, Not so much.
Yeah, it's just fine. It's okay.
And we're sitting there going, no, really, it's
we
good.
worked so hard on it. Yeah, it took us like a year of working, and then finally we realized, this idea is not so good. Yeah. So
that's one of the things about being a performer that's weird is we spend all of this time with, rehearsing and learning a skill that, is not natural in any way.
Right.
And then you put together, okay, here's where the audience is going to be. Here's where the volunteers are going to be. Here's how we're going to do it. And then the audience tells you at the last minute if they like it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
It's terrible that it has to happen that way.
And that sometimes also can surprise you. There are things that happen in the show, or you get laughs at moments that you thought, that wasn't even supposed to be a laugh there. I didn't realize that was a funny moment, or something like that, where things are funny that you don't understand why, but then they just are.
Yeah.
But then, more often than not, you have a a great idea that you
Right.
think is hysterical, and then the audience tells you that you're not right.
It tells you the truth.
I was talking on the way over here. I have a buddy, Mark James, he lives in London, and he's a magician. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to go see The Passing Zone. We're recording a podcast." And he says, and this guy is a movie buff and a comedy fan, and he collects vintage vinyl of comedy records.
Oh, wow.
And he tells me, and we'd never talked about The Passing Zone before together. And he goes, "My favorite joke ever is when The Passing Zone is performing and you drop a club and then you pull out the little dot and you stick it on the shirt."
The polka
That's
dot.
awesome. The polka
polka
dot.
dot.
Yeah.
That is one that has just it really
It resonates.
yeah, people dig it, and I'm
When-
stuck
where-
wearing polka dot shirts for the rest of my life just because of that joke.
I mean, where did that idea come from? Were you already wearing a polka dotted shirt, or was it conceptual? You sat down and went, "Okay, what if I wore a polka dotted shirt?"
It was the shirt came first.
Yeah.
Just looking for something interesting as a
Right.
performer. Hey, here's a shirt with some polka dots. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I was wearing it, and just before a show one time in the dressing room, looking in the mirror, thinking, okay, there's got to be something funny about polka dots.
Yeah.
And it just kind of popped into my head of, oh yeah, what if each one represented screwing up? And and then you get another. I suppose, I look at it as probably a reverse gag on there's an old comedy gag when someone does something right and suddenly they give themselves a medal.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then they
Yeah.
do
Medal.
something
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
good,
Another
and they
medal,
open up
yep.
their vest and it's full of medals.
Oh, yeah.
So I suppose that's sort of the germ of the idea, is knowing that. But then I sort of saw the polka dot
It's so
thing.
funny that the idea that
The
you're
opposite.
wearing this shroud of shame.
Right. That's right. And it's wonderful because we save that joke towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
And the whole time people are like, "That's an odd choice for a shirt."
It's crossed almost everyone's mind at one point or another to go, really?
Yeah.
Polka dot? That's what you chose?
It's fun that you save it too, because isn't there something special about knowing that a moment's coming, like especially with a joke like that, where no matter where you're at, no matter what time of day it is, this joke's gonna land.
Yeah.
It's got to be fun to just have this little secret in your pocket of like, all right, this is coming.
Yeah, here it comes. I can spend the whole show up there going, yeah, I know this shirt's kind of stupid, but just you wait.
You just
Right.
wait. You'll
Right.
be happy later. I'm wearing this shirt. Yeah.
When did you guys start working together, and kind of what was the origin of? Just start with birth. I'd like to start with birth.
Start with birth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was born. Then the first day, what did I do on the first day?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I cried a lot.
Yeah, probably cried a lot.
There is and it's funny to always be like, so how did you get started? I hate that question when people are like, how did you get started in entertainment? But it is interesting. You guys are a duo act,
Right.
which is very unique in this business, and a
Yeah.
successful duo act for many years. How did you guys go, hey, maybe not only should one person try to do this for a living, but what if we both tried to pay the bills doing this?
Well, it was we teamed up in '88, but we had met in 1986 at a juggling convention.
Awesome.
So some
Yeah.
of your listeners will be amused that there's such a thing.
But we'd each been juggling enough to take it seriously and be at a juggling convention. So,
Right.
and I had worked with, I'd only really done team stuff, a 2-person team and a 3-person team called the 2 of clubs and the 3 of clubs when I
that's
was
funny.
in high school and into college. And so I really liked passing and working with partner and doing that kind of stuff. But we had sort of gone different directions. I performed for a couple of summers with a guy named Tui Wilson out of Minnesota, which is where I'm from. He's a great solo comedy juggler guy. And we were good friends. So we performed together a couple of summers, just, knowing it was temporary, but just having fun.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, what am I going to do after I graduate from school? I want to keep performing, but I want to do a team thing, but didn't have someone obvious to do it with.
Yeah, and I was solo out here in Orange County and working at Disneyland, juggling there as a royal court jester with
Was
Dana,
that with Dana? at the
Dana
same time?
Daniels.
That's
and,
amazing.
A handful of that. Chipper Lowell was
Yeah?
one of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Lincoln.
Sure, yeah, a gaggle of us, and but yeah, I'd always just performed solo, but really enjoyed team stuff and passing and that sort of thing. So
That's part of the appeal of going to like a juggling convention, right? Is like,
Yeah.
for sure.
I know. I just came back from Magic Live, and it's so funny to see 1,500 grown people just here you go.
I'm wearing the Magic
From
Live
last year,
shirt
yeah.
from last year.
It's summer camp for grown-ups. It's
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So great.
let's just be goofy and do the one thing we really like to do. And
Yeah, and because as you know, we spend the rest of our life being that one weird person who does that weird thing.
Right,
Oh,
right.
you're the guy who juggles.
Yeah.
You know,
Right, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I've heard of you or whatever. And then finally you're in a room with 1,000 other people where you're like, oh, we're all that person.
Yeah.
Right.
In our lives, we now, we make sense to each other perfectly. We
Well,
don't stand out at all.
and
We're-
especially with like club passing, there's things you can't do with. You can't just be like with your kid sister. I mean, did you guys
Right.
ever try that? Like, look, just learn, so I have someone to
Just
practice
catch
with. Like,
these and throw them back. No,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You really need someone who's into it. Also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met just through a mutual friend who knew both of us, and we were both into numbers passing. Passing 9 clubs, and there weren't a whole lot of people who could do that. And so she had said, "Oh, you need to meet this Owen guy from California. He's a really good club passer." And so we got together, and sort of quickly not only just became friends and got along well, but our passing style was good, and we were both good at doing it, and we could pretty quickly be doing things that were toward the top end of technical juggling stuff at the time.
Right.
So we said, oh, maybe what we should do is come back next year to the convention and just enter the teams competition, just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
See how we do it. Maybe get together a few days ahead of time. And we talked about it. We said, let's do that. And then we didn't do it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're both just performing separately at this time, or
Yeah. And I'm
going to
we're both in
college.
college.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's sort of a summer job thing, and then a few pickup jobs during the year.
what
but
were you
mostly
studying
just-
at the time?
I was studying economics.
Nice.
Psychology major.
Oh wow! Look how responsible you guys
I
are.
know,
right?
Yeah, real careers that we
Oh, yeah.
could have had. What
Yes.
could have been? We were so close,
Yes.
and then we had to meet each other.
Yeah. Well, then, and then the next year was 1988, and we said, hey, let's, that thing we talked about doing last year, let's actually do it this year.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, wait a second, and John was graduating in 88, and what about the idea of putting a show together? I had one more year of college to go. He said, well, come out to California. We'll put a show together and try doing it for a little while.
Yeah, instead of just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing after school, after college? And
I don't know. What are you doing? I don't know.
yeah, so we thought, let's put something together. And based on the contacts each of us had performing for a while, we had called enough places and people we'd worked for and said, hey, I'm going to be doing a show with another guy.
Yeah.
And we were pretty much booked through the whole summer and into the fall.
Oh, wow.
Before we'd ever done a show together.
Right.
Just based on, reputation or, relationships that we had with various bookers.
And were these like comedy clubs or fairs, or what kind of stuff were you doing when you
Fairs.
first started?
Fairs, festivals, the Renaissance Fair
Yeah.
in Minnesota and in LA, and then the Sawdust Festival in Laguna Beach.
Yep.
And then John got a gig at Disneyland, joined the group
Oh,
of
cool.
Yeah, so I became a royal court jester as
How
well.
did, having done a few things for Disney, how did you guys not get that group of guys? How did you not get in trouble? I mean,
That's a good question.
or maybe you did.
We're
I don't
on our best behavior mostly.
You have at Disney. You have to behave yourself very
Right.
well.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to take out the earring, and
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know. It was definitely there was a little mischief and fun, but we were mostly just young guys trying to. We were getting paid to practice.
You're getting paid
basically.
to do the stuff that you want to do
Absolutely,
anyway.
which
Yeah.
is insane.
Right.
I mean, and Disneyland's it's a prestigious place
Absolutely,
to be.
yeah.
And you're basically doing 8-hour days. Half of that time you're out on stage doing your thing.
That's so cool.
So 4 hours a day, solid, juggling. And
There's
performing.
nothing like that stage time working
Right.
with an audience, and it's
Yeah.
just incredible to have a run especially in the same location,
Right.
Because
Yeah.
environment changes a lot of what happens in shows. So to know, all right, we're gonna do this tomorrow, and
Yeah.
It is weird. It's one of the closest things to having a real job in the performing world, because you wake up in the morning earlier than you want to, and you get in your car and you go to the employee parking lot and you go
and you
in.
get your card and you punch in.
And you go to the locker room and you change into your uniform, and then you go out on the thing, and you've got a lunch break in the middle, and it's a long day, and at the end of the day you punch out and go home, and it's like, wait, I just did an 8-hour day for a major corporation.
How wild and weird it is that you started off with steady work as jugglers.
Yeah.
That's insane. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were really fortunate that it worked that way. And, it did. I mean, after that first summer, things slowed down. Owen was still in school, and gigs were, pretty sparse at that point. We called those the macaroni and cheese years, where we were literally like, is there any food? Do you have $1? I have $1.
Yeah, play survival pantry. It's like, all right, we got pickles and crackers. What are we going to make?
That's it.
Yeah, we lived together for the first year, and which was a great way to, that we were just 24/7 thinking and working and practicing and coming up with ideas and things.
And last month we celebrated 30 years working together.
Wow.
So, it was amazing. Yeah.
That's incredible.
And some of the jokes that we wrote are still in the show.
Yeah. The show has barely changed in 30 years. The consistency, that's what's important.
That's all it is.
Yeah. Don't change a thing, boys.
Like, if it works.
Yeah.
So you guys, you start doing fairs and festivals, and then you said there was a little bit of lull when Disney when that stuff stopped. What was your next move after that? Like, was your thought, we need to get into comedy clubs, we need to do corporates? Was there intentional, or was it just that excitement of, we just want to do this, we'll do it anywhere?
There was definitely that. We'd do anything. Some of it was the 3-hour walk around thing at a party, to performing for Cub Scouts, or doing, just anything we could get. But fairly early on, we decided that the college market would be a pretty good place to be, and so we pursued
the
that
NACA route, or
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And got an agent out of New York to book our college stuff, and so we did a lot of colleges for a good solid 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And
What was that? So you did like a showcase your first time at NACA?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? You do the showcase, and then you go to the booth, and
it was great. I mean, it went well right off the bat.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of bookings right away, and
great.
the agent was happy, and we were happy, and like, okay, this is working. And so that was Barbara Meyer with Admire Entertainment out of New York.
Yeah.
And that was really good. I mean, that's where we started, sort of doing real shows for real money, and being pretty busy and working with a lot of other, seeing a lot of performers at showcases and things, and
seeing parts of the country you never thought you would see. And
That's an interesting. Yeah, you go to tiny little towns in the middle of nowhere, and some of those shows. The interesting thing about colleges too is, you can go from being a rock star in a theater that's packed full of people, and it's great, and you just go, this is the most tremendous, amazing performing experience ever.
Yeah.
And the next day, you're performing in a study lounge on
doing
the other
a
campus.
nooner in the cafeteria.
Corner of the cafeteria while they're eating.
Right. And we're bothering them.
No one's paying attention. No one's showing up. It can just be horrible. It's just so depressing, where you end up leaving going, what was that?
Yeah.
Why did we do,
Did you have something in the back of your mind where you, like, I always struggle with that. I mean, even to this day, I was just in Nashville, a new place called House of Cards. It's like a little mini version of the Castle.
Okay.
But I did 28 shows in 1 week, and it was great. But it's so funny when you'll have 2 shows that the audiences are just on fire, and the very next show, in the same room, you're wearing the same outfit, you're doing the same routine.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it just, you don't know, maybe they had a bad experience earlier, or What do you do when you go from like this theater that kills to you're in the corner of the cafeteria judging your existence?
That's why it's nice to have two people, so we can go, no, it's not us. It's definitely them.
It is. I don't know how solo people do it.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, the good shows are that much more fun because you've got someone else there to go, hey, this is a blast, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the bad shows, it's so nice to have somebody else there to go, oh, ouch, that was tough, wasn't it?
Especially when you're driving, because it's like there's nothing like when a show is great and you're like on cloud nine and you've got like a 4 or 5 hour drive to the next town. You're like, this is great.
Yeah.
But when you're on that road by yourself and it sucked and you're just like,
man.
Yeah.
what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's only you, and you gotta just...
Should I have worn the pink polka dots instead of the blue polka dots? Like, what was it?
Well, and I think that's one of the things about being a performer that's so interesting is that the audience experience is really mysterious.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there are things that when you can properly predict where you're like, oh, okay, this situation, this type of audience, this is going to be difficult, and you're usually right.
Yeah.
But then once in a while, you can be totally wrong, and an audience can surprise you and be fantastic when you don't expect them to be.
Oh, yeah.
Or the other, where you think, oh, this is ideal, this is going to be perfect, and you walk out there, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't click. And like you said, you can be in the same room and doing the same show exactly to really the same demographic even.
Right.
And just the energy in that room in that moment just changes from one show to another. And, you know, there are some factors you can point to understand why that might happen from one show to another, but a lot of it is just a mystery.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that keeps performing really interesting. You know, every time it's like jumping out of an airplane. You go, well, here we go.
Here we go.
What's it going to
goes well.
This is it.
What's this one going to be like? And you don't know till you're out there.
Well, and you guys improvise a lot too and work with the crowd. Like I know you've got your written material, but you're very good if there's a moment to really be in that moment and get everything out of it.
It is nice. I think the audience picks up on that because it doesn't even need to be that funny to hit and connect with the audience. So if they say something and we're listening to that, or aware of our surrounding, I think it's a way to customize a show and really have it feel like an interactive experience with your audience.
Yeah, if you can respond to something that's happening only right there, or you know, some mistake that we've made, or something that happens spontaneously there that we respond to,
and then it gives the illusion that everything else you're saying is spontaneous and just off the cuff, and then that just it just elevates the whole performance.
Yeah, well, people want to experience something that's real. You know,
Absolutely.
they want to. And when they go to a comedy club, they go, "Oh, it's funny. This guy just got up and talked, and he was hilarious." And it's like, well, no, that was that was 6 months worth of material that this guy worked on the road to have it feel spontaneous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. There's probably, I mean, most people who see our show think that we are improvising a lot more than we are.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of those things, you know, that's part of the trick is to, you know, pretend spontaneity effectively. So instead of just reciting lines and sounding like, oh, this is something they've said 1,000 times, you really make it sound like this is the first time they said this, and that makes it hysterical.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And so that's a big trick, is just keeping it fresh and
the ability to. Because there are times when something happens. I'm sure there's jokes that are in your show right now that were improvised at one point.
Yeah.
Or an audience member said something, and then you go, how do we recreate that moment?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
And some of those you can easily recreate, and it's great. And then others, you're like, darn it, I don't think we can.
How do we hire a guy to say that every time?
Yeah. And we are also pretty hardcore about not setting up audience members to do anything or telling someone to shout something out so that we can get a laugh. We just
I feel like audiences are smarter than sometimes performers give them credit for. You know what I mean? Like we think that we're getting, and magicians especially are notorious for thinking they're getting away with something.
Right.
And it's like, no, people know. They know it's real. They know it isn't.
Yeah.
And even if they don't completely right then and there go, hey, this is BS, what I'm watching, they still kind of feel it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, by the time enough of those moments have happened on stage, they sort of don't like the performance as much, even though they might not even know why.
Yeah.
But if it really is genuinely fresh, you know, then they feel like they're in a unique moment, and that means so much more.
Yeah. Do you guys have as we're talking about like the shows that go great and then the ones that don't, what is your debrief process like? Do you give yourself like, okay, this is the time we're going to talk about that, or is it right after the show, or do you record or take notes? What is your process for processing the last show or
I think,
a new piece or something?
As a variety act, we have a lot of things to pack up after the show. And after we meet the client and shake, meet and greet and do that, now we're sitting back going, and it's a good time to go, wow,
yeah,
that was a tough audience. Or, what exactly happened there?
And why are you in a fetal position?
Can I
get up? We have to.
Can I get your binky?
We have to pack. Come on.
You heard Patton Oswalt's bit about the saddle magician?
No.
It's talking about at the end of the show that magicians in the comedy clubs, would make this huge mess. They'd have like a hamper they'd throw everything into. And then at the end, they had their case where everything went in the right spot and it was customized. And so he's singing like there's nothing more depressing than seeing a magician who just bombed sadly back his
Carefully.
The sad old magician.
The tears streaming down.
Well, this didn't work. I guess this didn't work.
Why
either.
did I even bring that?
$150 at Magic Live for that right there.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question, we try not to too immediately go, hey, what went wrong there? Or that was your fault, or that was, I mean, usually there's a little bit of a buffer time where you just go, all right, let's just let that
decompress,
sink in there for a moment.
And we're usually harder on ourselves. The other guy doesn't need to say, hey, you screwed up there. We kind of know where the problems were.
Yeah, we're quicker to say, oh, I'm really sorry, I messed that thing up, instead of one of us saying, hey, you messed that thing up,
Right.
Yeah, I know I did. So we and yet we are pretty hard on ourselves too, where we do talk about it afterward, and we say, all right, not to just beat ourselves up, but a couple things didn't go right, did they? All right, we need to be better than this. What didn't go well and why, and let's figure it out so that doesn't happen again. And
that's good. I mean, there's got to be those moments too. Your act is so physical. There's got to be moments where stuff just happens, or you trip, or
there's 100,000 things that can go wrong in our show, and we are discovering every one of them one at a time.
It's fascinating. Every show, almost every show, something happens, something goes wrong that's never gone wrong before.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're going, oh my gosh, that, there are certainly the things that we know have gone wrong multiple times, and we have to be really careful during the really hard stuff.
Yeah.
But then there are those stupid ones where you go, I've never dropped there before, ever. Or I've never knocked that thing over and had it ruin the whole, And
the whole build up to this moment.
Yeah.
And with juggling too, there's always something in the air that you might not catch. There's always something you've got to throw, and you might not throw it right.
Right.
And there's so many moments that are potential screw ups.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just feels like a miracle to get through the show, having only messed up, once or twice.
Yeah.
We recently did an episode I recorded at Magic Live, and I just walked around asking guys to tell a horror story. Like I asked Amazing Jonathan and Johnny Thompson, all these guys to tell horror stories from sometimes something went awful. Is there one that comes? It doesn't have to be the worst one, but is there one that comes to mind where you're just like, this just did not work?
Wow.
Well, we had a little while ago a little chainsaw incident.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, that's right.
Yeah, we do the chainsaw ballet piece where we're in tights and the whole deal, running chainsaws back and forth.
Right.
And there are chains on our chainsaws, and
they're active. These are real.
Yeah,
now
they'll get you.
The teeth have been ground down,
but still,
they'll
mess you up.
They'll break the skin quite easily. They might not chop your arm off, but they're moving and they'll rip you open.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where we're tossing one chainsaw back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And as you toss it, the blade is facing the other person, and so you throw it so that it rotates away from them, so that when they catch it, the blade is facing away. I tossed one to Owen, and it didn't really rotate the way it's supposed to.
We're up on stage.
What do you do? Do you just dodge it? I mean,
well, it's coming right at
and
me.
You've got other things going on.
Well, and it's never happened before.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
what is that?
Yeah. Oh no. And there's like 2,000 people in the audience.
And they all think it's part of the show.
And,
I go to reach.
No.
Because I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm trying to get to the handle, but the handle's on the other side, and by the time I get to it, it hits me right in the chest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And bounces up stage. Oh yeah. And I'm just like shocked. We're both like, and I go, I've been hit. And so I go to reach down, and we got to keep going. This is the finale of the show. We can't stop.
Goodness.
Yes.
So I go to reach down for the saw. As I reach down and grab it with my left hand, I take my right hand and I slide it into my shirt.
Yeah.
And I pull out my hand, and it's already covered with blood, just soaking with blood.
Like, oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was just one of those, and as the guy who threw it, the moment I let go, I just am going, okay, that didn't go right, and I'm just like, oh
man.
crap, and I can see that it's not rotating, and I'm like, oh no.
So I pick it up, and you'd think. The audience doesn't want to see blood. They think they do, but they don't.
Yeah.
And so I put the saw right up in front to cover, and I'm just like, oh my! And this is towards the beginning of that piece. And so we kind of finish, we kind of do, and I'm sort of hiding from the cameras and hiding from the audience.
Goodness.
The audience never knew.
Yeah.
We finished the show.
Oh my
I run off stage, and I asked the sound guy, "Hey, do you have like a towel or something?" He goes, "What for?" I go, "Oh, because of this." And it's like
Oh my
blood pouring into my tights.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was bad.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a little scar from that one.
Yeah,
that,
so you can kind of see the little
Yeah.
scar. Yeah, so.
And I don't have a scar. You gotta.
No, you know what the funny thing is?
Is that why you're working
you
on the
do have a
bullwhip
scar.
thing?
It's just on the inside. Yeah.
Very
Well,
good
I tell
point.
people
Very good point.
I would actually rather be on my side of this story than his. I mean, it's
I know.
It's a
you-
terrible
it's a
feeling
terrible
to
feeling.
hurt somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean,
And I'll
at
heal.
that point, you've been doing this routine for how long? Like, I mean,
Yeah, that one we've been
20
doing.
years.
Yeah, 20 years probably.
so the next time you do that routine, are you?
It got my attention.
Yeah. Like, oh, really? Like,
Yeah. Actually, every time in the show now, when that one, I'm ready to move out of the way if it needs to happen.
Yeah.
But
Because there is a certain
Oh,
bit of,
it might happen
it might,
again.
oh, sure.
Yeah, I can't offer any guarantees.
No, he'll be sorry.
Oh, I'll do my best.
Yeah.
the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize when they see you act like yours is they go, well, it's obviously not dangerous. We don't know how, but. And then I see, I mean, even just what I've seen the 2 times I've been here now, what you guys are working on, and it's like, there's legit danger for you both
Yeah.
at any moment.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're really wearing safety goggles as we practice.
Not as a prop. Like,
No, this is, yeah.
And we won't be wearing them in the show
Yeah.
once it's ready. But at this point, when you're doing it hundreds of repetitions and you don't have
Right.
enough experience to even know
Right, you're trying
whether or what might go wrong.
Yeah, you're still finding how you might be hurt in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why your act has been so successful is that, and it's not something other people can copy. Because even if they went, oh, I want to do that routine. Okay, do you want to practice for 10 years learning how to stand on someone's head and do this? And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you really have with this element of danger and the physicality and the fact that you guys are really keeping yourself in shape, like. You can't really be copied.
Yeah, there are definitely some things, like the chainsaw ballet, where you
Yeah.
just think, well, it's hard enough even to figure out how to build a chainsaw that you can
Right.
juggle. We've
Right.
had people call us and say, how do you do that? I want to do that.
Right.
And part of it, we like to be helpful, but part of it is like, well, if we helped everybody
Right.
figure out how to juggle a chainsaw, there'd be too many people juggling chainsaws.
Right.
One of the barriers is you've got to figure it out.
Well,
And
and
that's-
you got to learn that when you drop a chainsaw, it breaks, and now you got to go buy another chainsaw,
Right, and
and
it's
another
not-
chainsaw,
and it's not
and another
cheap,
chainsaw. Yeah, and that's part of. You go, are we willing to commit?
Right.
and that's one thing we've always, you have an idea and you commit to it, and you spend the money,
Yeah.
and you make it happen.
And juggling chainsaws is also not pleasant on the body.
No.
There are wrist and
they gotta be
elbow
heavy
issues.
too, right?
Heavy.
Not, not to be one of those guys complaining about his medical conditions, but I came straight here from the doctor appointment because my elbow's been really bothering me for a while, and it's from that. And
chainsaws.
As soon as somebody tries juggling a chainsaw, they realize, well, this is not fun.
Right.
Yeah. They're awful.
Yeah. So there are all kinds of barriers as to why there aren't a lot of people out there doing this.
Right. And even like, can you take a chainsaw on an airplane? Like, I mean,
It turns out you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah.
Oh, you tried to take one on?
Well, we used to.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's
back
one
in
of
the
those
day-
things where, like, for a while you can do it
Yeah.
until one day someone decides it's not okay.
until value jet goes down, as it turns out.
Oh, really?
That was
Was it a chainsaw that did it?
No,
Oh.
it wasn't. But that's when the airlines really got strict
Yeah.
about what you could and couldn't take on. And we the FAA. I think my name's
You guys are
He's on a list.
I'm on a list.
somewhere
No-fly list.
Yeah.
from a case of chainsaws that we flew with after one was not supposed to be,
Right.
and yet we'd been doing it for a long time and just didn't really think much of it.
we empty the fuel out of them, so
Yeah.
they're not full, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. So those get FedExed.
Yeah.
So we got a hefty little fine for that, and then we stopped flying with them.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're traveling on the road, I mean, I talk about this with a lot of guys, is that it's so hard to like eat good and exercise when oftentimes just to get to a gig, you're spending, 6 to 12 hours just to get to the place.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because obviously you guys have done it and you've been able to stay in shape for all these years. So what did you put in place, or how do you guys make sure that when you're in a busy season of a lot of travel that you're taking care of yourself mentally and physically and all that?
We're supposed to take care of ourselves?
Wow.
Oh, no.
If you're going to bring up metabolism, I'm just saying it's easy for you guys.
Yeah, it is a big challenge. Yeah,
Absolutely.
And we're also not very good at taking good care of ourselves, even from the standpoint of just eating enough, finding time to find a meal or something.
Yeah.
And you realize, wait, the whole day went by and all I've had is a banana, or all I've had is a granola bar or something. And so part of it is, at least for me, I partly allow myself to eat pretty much whatever I can get my hands on and that works and that is timed right or whatever. But sometimes that means you're eating some pretty crappy stuff too.
Right.
Yeah. And if it comes down to, okay, do I get to eat now or do I get to sleep now? And most of the time sleep wins.
Yeah.
So, but then, you do have to come home and decompress and try to be good to yourself and eat well.
But when you're eating in an airport or getting room service
Right.
or, those kinds of things, we often, most days, if we are at a hotel long enough, we will both, be at the gym.
Right.
We'll go, okay, well, we'll see you at the gym. I'm going to work out before the show, after the show, whatever. Sometimes after the show when we're already hot and sweaty and we're getting back to the room and changing clothes, you go, well, I'm just going to put on my shorts and T-shirt and go to the gym and work out for an hour after the show.
Right.
And especially reaching the age that we are, we really do need to stay in shape to do this.
Yeah.
And so,
if you see the show, the show's a workout for us anyway. I mean, it's super physical.
I mean, I'm sitting there going, they must burn so many stinking
my
calories
gosh,
just doing their act.
we're just dripping with sweat at the end of it
I've
and
gotten
out
to
of
the
breath.
habit of wearing my Apple Watch and doing the calories and watching my heart rate go up. And it's like 850 calories in a show. So.
But there are times where just traveling is just survival. So, you sleep when you can, you eat what you can, and then you go home and think, oh, I just ate crap for the last 3 days. I better
Time to recover.
Yeah.
One of the things when I talk to friends of mine who, like I've got 2 kids and been married 16 years. And then I have friends who are like, they're single and their life doing this is so different. And then I think even you guys as a partnership in the show, every choice I make, every financial decision, or if I'm investing in the show, I got to run that by my wife. We got to make sure that it works schedule-wise for us. Now, not only do you guys have your own lives apart from this, but you have this life together. How has that been for you guys, just managing that with, changes in your personal lives? How does that affect, you guys as a performing duo, if that's not too vague of a question?
No, that's a good question because that's one of the huge challenges. And again, we've been doing this for 30 years, and one of the reasons it works is that we're lucky. It works. We might have had our lives develop in ways in which one of us wanted to do things differently than the other one, or something, or where the family needs or the family demands or whatever was going on just didn't work for one of us to travel so much, or something. And we were both lucky enough to marry people who are very independent and are okay with us traveling as much as we are, and can are willing and able to do a great job of taking care of things when we're gone. And but it is true that all of these, there are gigs that come along that you might decide as a performer, I don't want to do that one.
Right.
But now we're making a choice for another family's income. Or we decide
braces. We need braces.
Right. Or hey, we're trying to plan a family vacation, and then suddenly during that week that someone has set aside for a family vacation, 3 offers come up for gigs, and the other person's like, well, I'm not taking a vacation that week. I'm available. I want to work. And so we. It's a constant challenge just to figure that out. But that's one of the reasons I think the partnership has worked. We both sort of understand the importance of that, and so do our wives. And so we pretty much take every gig that we can. Yeah. Even when something's been scheduled, sometimes we have to go back to our wives and say, you know what? I think we're going to have to move this vacation week or cancel it and do something else instead.
And our families are so supportive. I mean, our kids and our wives are just amazing. And they've been that way all along, and been so being willing to be flexible for our schedule.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's hard. It's hard to really rely on a certain thing, or, we can't really be on something there where, hey, every Thursday night, this is what we do.
Like Taco Tuesday with the family. It's like, we don't always get to do that.
The nice thing is that because we're, self-employed, when we are home, we're totally home. We get to go to the kids' school in the middle of the day. We get to be involved in all this stuff. We get to do tons of things that we can, be in the middle of the day, have a date day with our wives, or do, whatever you want. And so we can be very, very present with the family when we're home. But then when you're gone, and you miss some important things. And they, fortunately, our families get it. And they're like, hey, when dad's here, it's great that he's here, but when he's gone, there's nothing you can do about it. So, but it is true that you have to think of, hey, this isn't just a decision for me and my family. This is a decision for their family as well. And that's tough.
There's something too about, I feel like all our wives would have to speak to this better than we could, but there's certain times with work where it's like non-negotiable. Saturday, I'm going to Ohio. I've got to be in Ohio on Saturday. But then often I see a lot of guys that come home and the family time is always negotiable, and I feel like the times that I've done it well have been because they know my time with you is non-negotiable, just like my time at work is not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's nice.
A lot of guys, they go on the road for 6 months, they come home, they're like, I'm so tired, I want to check out. It's like, no, you need to see your kids, man.
Yeah.
You need to be dad for a little bit.
Yeah. There's definitely, I've if I am able to go to any game or any event or anything, I'm there. I don't miss anything. I don't miss a point or a game or a tournament or anything that the kids are involved in, if I can help it at all. And I'm always sort of astonished that some parents are like, well, I decided not to go to that one. Like, what?
Right.
Right. Yeah. But, but I guess maybe if you're available to go to all of them, then maybe once in a while you do skip it. Yeah. We get forced to skip it sometimes because of work. So then we always go when we can, but
That's great.
It's definitely a balance.
Yeah, totally, man. Well, you guys are used to balance.
Hey,
Hey,
it's like a juggling.
We're doing puns.
Life is like a juggling act. Keeping it all in the air.
This is my keynote.
Can you balance a checkbook? Hey,
Here, catch.
juggle the books.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was gonna say, what are the things that people come up to you and say? Because for me, it's always, can you saw my wife in half? Can you make my bills disappear?
Yeah.
You guys get juggling jokes given to you by audience
Yeah.
members.
We do get a lot of, here, catch this, pretending to throw us something.
Right.
The best is when they go, you can use that. I'm like,
Yeah.
Can I?
you
Really?
can keep it. It's all right.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
pay you every time I do
Right, right.
Yeah, we probably the question we get the most often is, "Are we brothers?"
Right.
Okay.
That seems to be the biggest question on people's minds. I guess we look enough alike
Yeah.
and we act and talk enough alike where people assume that we're brothers.
Right.
But,
Well, and you guys have been friends for so long that it's like, it does come across like these guys know each other really well.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean?
but I think it's like people and their dogs too. You start to look similar.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've morphed into similar looking beings
exactly.
after being each other's companion for so long.
Now, you guys did AGT, what, 3 years ago? Or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2016, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
and 12 years ago.
Right.
You did it twice.
Yeah, we were on the first season.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what you're allowed to talk about. So don't talk about anything you're not allowed to talk about contractually. But
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think Simon's listening.
All right.
Too
Yeah.
closely.
let me look through that contract
yeah.
again
Hold
and
on.
refresh my
I
memory.
need 10 hours to read through it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but one of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, I have friends who are like, I don't know if I want to go, I got asked to go on or audition. I don't know if I want to do it because there's the risk of it not going great. And then I go, well, you guys have been killing it for 25 years and then go on AGT. What was that experience like for you? Was there a conversation of like, do we really want to do this? Or was it right away like, we're going to go do this?
Well, yeah.
Well, and I guess the first time around, it was really presented to us as, hey, there's going to be this show.
Oh, yeah, it was the
and
first season,
It's
so you didn't
American
know what to
Idol.
expect.
And
Yeah.
nobody knows what it is.
And
yet.
you don't even know if it's going to end up happening. You
No.
go shoot
Sure.
it and- yeah.
And they're like, it's American Idol for variety acts.
Okay.
We're like,
think, well,
okay, that's American Idol's the
we should
biggest
probably do
show
that.
on TV at
Right.
the moment. And if they're doing variety acts, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of the, we did. They like to present it as though, hey, these are a bunch of amateurs who were
Right.
discovering
Right.
out of nowhere,
Right.
and we didn't know that it had that element really beforehand,
Okay.
and so it is such a strange. Unusual
Reality
show.
TV?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it's the smartest thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
Is the best thing that has happened in our career. It's gotten us the most bookings.
Yep.
It's gotten us the most.
views. Yeah, more people watch that show than, we did the Tonight Show a couple times with Johnny Carson.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we're getting more people seeing us on America's Got Talent.
Right.
It's prime time. It's multiple hits.
yeah. And they're watching online as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not, yeah.
And they get to see you week after week. They see you multiple times, and not only what you present on stage, but then they're also seeing you off stage and backstage and getting to know
you,
who you
right.
are as a person.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
That never happens with
Right.
just a regular
Here's
TV
a 3-minute
spot.
spot on a TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. So you really have people at home who kind of feel like they know you. They feel like, okay, I've seen this person backstage. I've seen them on
Yeah.
stage. I've heard their story. I'm pulling for them. I like them.
Right.
What they're doing is fun, and so, yeah, that has such deep value beyond just, hey, we got 3 minutes on a late night show or something.
Right.
Plus, yeah, primetime TV on a major network is still huge numbers.
Right.
of
Was
people.
that weird? Like did you notice right away people started seeing you places or coming up
yeah.
and saying stuff?
Yeah, walking
Yeah.
through airports, especially together.
Right.
Yeah, no, the people are going, hey, it's those guys.
Yeah, it was really fun while it was happening too.
That's
to
cool,
get
man.
recognized because doing what we do that
Yeah.
isn't something that happens very often. So
When you decided to go on the show, was your thought we're going to win this thing, or was your thought
No.
we need a piece with the judges that we've got good footage?
Yeah, so there's this recent time that we did it. It really was just, we'd seen the show grow over all these years. The first year was a very different show, and nobody really knew what it was. So after watching it for years and years, we would say, "Man, I wish we were on the show now." This is a much bigger deal now than it was the first year. And so, after trying to get on a bunch of different shows and proposing and sending video on a new bit to all kinds of different shows, and they all were saying no, and we couldn't get any airtime on late night shows or any of that, we called America's Got Talent. We actually we talked to Piff after Piff's year. And he had just said what a great experience it was. We saw him blow up from all of that. Yeah. And so after having another conversation with him about what it's like and his experience, we were just going, all right, let's give this a try and see what happens. So we called them and asked if they would be interested in having us back. And they said, oh my gosh, yeah, we remember you guys. And yeah, we'd love to have you back.
Oh, that's great.
And we didn't know going into it. We figured if we can get, 2 successul appearances that look good, the video's great, and we don't end up looking foolish, then we'd be happy. That would be a win. And
we made it to the semifinal round. The show right before the final round, we were eliminated.
So we were on pretty much the whole season.
That's almost the perfect. That's what you want to happen.
Yeah.
You don't want to win it. You don't want to win it. You want to get
second place, ideally. But we were 11th place or whatever it was.
We didn't make the top 10, but we got eliminated right before that. But we never thought we would win it. We never really wanted to win it. I think even winning it comes with a whole lot
There's a whole
responsibilities and things that NBC gets that you don't get.
Right.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe winning it, we might have been bigger stars now, and that might have been great, but that was not our goal.
Yeah.
Do you now, like when you guys go to do a theater show, is there like a pre-package? Do you show like footage from those appearances at all before you come out, or no?
We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, we of course use it as a credit, and it's our promo video is full of footage from that too. But even that we found is interesting because those performances have so much production, and so, lots of fire and all this crazy stuff.
You can't always do it every video.
Tank and all. So we have some clients who look at the video and they're like, we can't do that. So even though that footage is great, we have to make sure that the video is also full of footage that looks like a regular corporate event and a regular thing, and not all showbiz TV stuff, because they can throw a lot of money at the production and make it look like a bigger spectacle than we are elsewhere.
Yeah.
When you guys are able to, because I know you obviously have different levels of production shows that you can do. You know, here's the different packages probably, right? But even if it was, just a smaller setup, you guys play so big with the physicality and the audience volunteers and all of that, I've seen some guys that will go on a show and they'll do all this big stuff and then they can't deliver that same quality of a show at a corporate event because there's no, no rigging or lighting or whatever it is.
We go and do a week headlining the Comedy Magic Club or something like that, and that's a small
what's it, like
space.
An 8 foot?
It's a small space, and the audience is right at your feet and stuff. But it really is more about the jokes anyway, and our relationship with each other and our relationship with the audience, and than it is about the bits. But we do some stuff in there that we probably shouldn't do
in that space. A little too close to people.
Yeah.
But we have to be ready to be able to, with 2 or 3 cases of stuff and not much space, be able to put on a 60-minute show without any fancy lighting or anything. And then there are other shows where they've got a lot more space, more production, more of a budget, and then we are sending 15 cases and big things and hanging stuff and rigging things, and it's been nice to be able to do that, to sort of fit in both of those categories, where if you have to play in a small space and go on and go off and leave no footprint, that we can do that.
Have there been, since you guys have added, I mean, like, for people, if you don't know right now, if you have not watched, go online and watch clips of the Passing Zone. You juggle humans from time to time, like, you know, dunk takes and, you know, throwing knives and swinging pendulums. And are there ever times where you've pitched that act and they booked it and you said, okay, we're going to get this, and it sounds great when you book it, and then there's the logistics of shipping and setting up and all of it. Like, do you ever get there and go, I really wish we were just doing the 2 bags tonight?
All the time.
That does happen sometimes where you go, okay, they may have overreached a little bit in what was possible. And even the new piece with the knife throwing and the swinging pendulum thing, you know, that's a big piece that needs to sit on the stage. And, you know, you can get there and find out that the stage is not what they said it was going to be.
They put a band on stage and they took up the whole space.
And there's no way to roll this out of the way or, you know, and then you've got to figure out, you know, do you have 4 stagehands who are going to pick it up and carry it off the stage and, you know, or you find out that once you build it, it can't even fit through the door, you know, and there's nowhere for it to go.
Right.
And
and then, you know, after the show, you're sitting there an hour and a half of extra pack up. Shipping this thing to the next day. Yeah. So.
Yeah. More often, luckily, it'll happen the other way where we've got the fewer stuff and they've decided not to go with some of the bigger things. And then you get there and you look at it and go, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
You know, that would not have worked in this space. And luckily that got figured out before the big stuff showed up.
Yeah, that's so good, man. I used to do, we used to do like large illusions, and then and then I just got to a point where I was like, I can't do it anymore. I just can't.
Just the logistics of things. Like something has to roll from backstage onto the stage, and you've got cables or 2 levels or something, and suddenly.
Or, you know, there's blocking and there's wings required for certain things. And even when you lay it all out in the rider and then you get there in the banquet room and you go, okay, we said no dance floor.
And there it is.
You're not even having dancing.
And there's no backstage and there's no wings. That can change things fast.
Oh, it's so fun. It's an adventure, though.
It is.
It is.
You know, that was one of the things that we get asked a lot about, you know, do you guys ever do your own show in Vegas, or would you want to do that? And, you know, that could be one version of a way to go, but partly the idea of being in the same room and doing the same thing over and over again 5 nights a week or 6 nights a week or whatever it might be, over and over for years, I can hardly bear it. I don't. I mean, sure, there's the upside of you've got the same crew in the same space, and you can kind of do more stuff there then, and you won't have all these surprises or problems that arise. But I think it would just be so tedious.
The burnout factor, I think, would be high.
Yeah, because we're still doing, you know, we do the same show over and over again. And people say, well, do you get bored, you know, doing the same stuff? And the thing that keeps us from getting bored is every time.
The environment.
The crew is all different, and we're doing this show once, and we're going to rehearse it once, and the space is different, the stage is different,
the audience is different. Everything's.
Well, I'm sure you guys have done theme park runs where it's like you're there for 3 weeks or whatever, and it always sounds great. It's like, oh, we don't have to set up, like, you know, we're going to be in the same room and all that. And like 3 days in, I'm always like,
you're counting it down already.
I mean, and I love the Castle. It's my favorite place to perform. But always, I swear, this is it. It'll be like, I haven't done the Castle in a couple months. Then I go do the Castle, and 3 nights in, I'm like, I'm good to not come back for 6 months. You know? Like, I want to do something different and new. And I totally get that, man.
And that really keeps it interesting for us. Is you know, almost everything we do is a one show in one place. You know, it's pretty rare that we're doing more than one in the same location, and that keeps it absolutely fascinating, seat of our pants. You never know how it's going to go every single time. And I think that's part of what keeps it interesting. The challenge of that keeps it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been a time, you know, you guys just celebrated 30 years as a duo. Has there ever been a time in that 30 years that one or both of you were considering, maybe we need to move on and do something different? Maybe we need to...
I don't think so. I mean, I think we feel so lucky to be doing what we're doing. And I think there's a certain acknowledgement that what we have created together is much better than what we would have come up as a solo.
Yeah.
Like I think our skill sets and our comedy really complement one another. And yeah, I just...
Yeah, we love doing it, and I have no other marketable skills.
Right.
So there aren't
John's-
any other options.
John's
You're like, I've
definitely
studied the
committed.
economics of it.
yeah, and
He's
this-
studied your psychology, and he's like, no.
Yeah, John's here to stay.
Yeah, he's locked in.
No,
Oh.
it is.
So-
We love doing it,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine doing something else. I mean, we get to do what we love. We get
Yeah.
to make people laugh. I
Yeah.
mean, just the privilege of looking out at an audience of
Yeah.
people who are just dying laughing and having a great time, and the wonderful, kind comments we get from people afterwards about just how much fun they had and how much they loved it. You know, that just makes it worth it every time.
It's so encouraging, man, because the theme of this show is the ups and downs, and it's a privileged conversation, but the struggle of being an entertainer.
Yeah.
There's a lot more difficult things you could do with your life, and a lot harder ways to make a living.
Sure.
Absolutely.
We're not digging ditches
Right.
or mining coal or something,
Right,
but
and it's such a good reminder to hear you say that we are so lucky. Like
Yeah.
the fact that somebody has gone and worked a job that is much more difficult than what we do, even with the challenges, and then they're going to pay money to come allow us to do what we
Exactly.
do. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And of course, the other side of that is a lot of people think, oh, your job's pretty easy. You just get up on stage for an hour.
Well,
An hour a day, that's it.
That much for just an hour? Well, no.
Yeah, well, hang on.
Hold on a
thousands
second.
and thousands of hours behind
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get paid anything to be here in the
Right.
clubhouse.
Oh, yeah,
No
yeah.
one's paying us to show up here
Right.
and sweat our butts off.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah. How much would it cost for me to pay you to leave your family on a Friday night and come from New York to LA
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
to hang out with my group for an hour?
Yeah.
Oh, you charge a lot too? Okay.
Yeah.
but it is still just great that we get to do it. We're constantly looking at each other going, can you believe they
ridiculous.
still pay us for this?
It's amazing.
And,
Yeah.
Well, you guys are experts at it, and you make it look so fun. Like when I watch you perform, I go, damn, these guys are really enjoying what they're doing. And
I'm
you know,
glad that comes across.
Well, there's the fact that first of all that you have a clubhouse that is a place for you to come and rehearse.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that when I went full time years ago, I told my wife, if I don't change the act for a year, if there's not something new I'm working on, I want out of it. I don't want to be. I've seen too many heroes from when I was a kid that are doing the same act now, same 12-minute piece they did 35, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's just no life in it.
Yeah.
And so it's encouraging and it's inspiring to me to see you guys just constantly creating and going, what if? And we're, a lot of jugglers will be like, how many different things can you juggle? Well, go look at the passing zone and then shut up and get to work.
Well, yeah, it is funny that, part of it is, you just have to put in the work. It's not a cushy, it doesn't just happen. Not only just the physical work of practicing and creating new stuff and rehearsing and sweating and doing all of that, but then all the marketing and the phone calls and contracts and doing all of that stuff that's related to it.
Right.
Well, that's constant.
Yeah.
And takes a lot of work. But yeah, this space we're in, we just love it. There are some times where I'll just come by myself and practice in the middle of the day. And the other day I just came in here and opened the door and flipped on the lights and just looked and just got a big grin on my face and just went, this is awesome.
It's our space.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
We love it here.
I'm a huge fan of what you guys do and appreciate your passion for the art and that you really view it as that. A lot of times variety artists, we can kind of, we joke with each other about how silly it is what we do, but at the end of the day, you guys really care and it comes across in your show. So
Yeah.
thanks for setting the example for the rest of us. And it's good stuff. How can people find you if they're listening right now? How can they see what you're up to? Follow along on the Passing Zone journey.
Yeah, our website is passingzone.com, as it turns out.
We've got like a mailing list fan club type of thing you can sign up for there. And we do a fair amount of stuff on Facebook, under the Passing Zone, and Twitter, and we don't do a ton of
a little bit on
Instagram here and there. So there are a number of ways to follow us that way, and search the Passing Zone on YouTube, and a bunch of silly videos will come up.
Oh, it's incredible.
There's some things that are there that we wish weren't there.
Like how?
Where did that come from?
I always laugh too. Like you send a press package to the booker, and they always find some photo online that you're like, where is this photo?
Exactly.
I can't find it to get it off, but they're using that same photo.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or we found out that somebody, astonishingly booked us from seeing, our promo reel from 1991 or something.
We're
like, that's the video you are. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What happened?
You're going to be pleased with what you see.
Are you guys going to do the Run DMC routine with the muscle gear pants? That'd be awesome. Well, thank you guys for doing this. Everyone go check out the Passing Zone, and I'm going to turn this off so I could go crack a whip one more time.
Yeah, let's go play. If you want to try the dunk tank, it's right over there.
All right. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.